Hey guys, can you hear me okay? All right, so let's get started. So today we're going to talk about a little bit about CSS4, what's coming in CSS4, that's what we're going to talk about. My name is Bharath Chakravaravarthy, and I work at a company called PTC Pro-Tek Consulting, and I'll get started here. All right, so what we're going to talk about today, the agenda. So I'll introduce you to what CSS4 is, and then we're going to talk about the new features that are being worked on, and as well as selectors that I have a combination of some working examples that I would like to show, and as well as things that are still not supported by the browser. So I'm going to show you that as well today. And then some other properties and what we should be looking out for. A couple of them I'll also throw in there to show you how and what we have to expect. And the last one is an interesting myth, fact, or rumor. I mean, we'll discuss it at the end of this presentation. In the last slide, I'll show you what has been going around on the web, and if I'll leave it to you guys to know whether it's a fact or a myth. So let's. Before we start, about me, basically on a professional front, I'm working, as I said, I work on Pro-Tek Consulting, work with Pro-Tek Consulting on a product called as carsnation.com. That's still under development, and so I also keep an eye out on, like every web enthusiastic. I also keep an eye on what's going on in web development and what are the latest trends that's happening, and so I enjoy also training and mentoring the folks at our company, and so I also do that on the web development, like on JavaScript, AngularJS, and Backbone, and all those technologies. And on the personal front, I play cricket. I enjoy playing cricket, and then and also I am currently working on a book, AngularJS book, that I'm currently writing, and also I contribute to a magazine called UI Street that is initiated by my company here in Los Angeles. And let's get started. So about CSS4. So basically the term CSS4, right? I mean, it's not an actual term. It's a buzzword that's coming up. Like similar to CSS3, right? So it's cascading style sheet level 3, and then the buzzword came in as CSS3. Same thing with CSS4, and actually there's no word called CSS4, but technically speaking. But this level 4 standards of CSS selectors, it has level 4 standards of CSS selectors that are being drafted by the talented folks at W3C to make it a standard. And also, so in CSS4, there are more of independent modules that can reach out to level 4 and or beyond. But CSS as a language, it has only levels that I just told you about. And also, there are a lot of selectors that are out there that have been introduced, same as features, and a few of the media queries also that has been that are trying to be introduced. So we'll discuss about that right now. And so yeah, so on W3C they have already released some draft versions so that we can go out and check out what they are working on. And I'll share the link at the end of the presentation as well. So coming to the media queries, right? So basically, new media queries that are being worked on are first one is the scripting media query feature. So basically, what this feature does is it helps you to query whether there is any kind of scripting language that is being used on the document, whether you can get to know whether there is JavaScript or not. So it's kind of neat. I'm really excited about this feature. So basically, it will to query whether scripting languages such as JavaScript are supported on the current document. So the script media query provides a standard way, and it's pretty neat. The second one is about the pointer media query. So basically, pointer media feature it has various values I'm going to discuss in a minute. So basically what it does is it will help you to determine whether the particular document is being accessed by any kind of pointing devices, like mouse or stylus or none of them. So there are different values. If you say none, so basically none of the, I mean, it's just either as no pointing device is being there. For example, just a static web page where you have it on the display screens where there's no kind of interactivity or something. And then there is the second value, course. I think I'm pronouncing it right. So basically, this is much more like screens where you have in the movie theaters. Let's say you have this, kiosks where it's not so accurate about the pointing devices. It's lesser accuracy. So in that scenario, you can use this as your media query and then write your rules within this, pointer device rule so that the interactivity can be set. The other value is fine, which is much more accurate, like either a mouse or a stylus on your tablet device. That's the another value that you can do. But if a device has multiple input mechanisms, then the pointer media feature must reflect what is the primary point of interactivity that has to be done, primary input mechanism. So to be determined by the user agent. So that's another way. So you can have more information. I mean, on W3C, they're still trying to work on that. So there's more information there. And guys, one other thing is, in this presentation, I'll do few of them. I'll show you some kind of code samples and few areas where I'll not be able to share some kind of code features because they're still, it's not being published or it's still under works. So whatever features had code samples in my research, I was able to find them, and I'll show it to you momentarily. And the last one is the hover media feature. I think this is another cool feature. So for example, on cell phone, we are not able to, let's say on the web, you have a hover feature, but the same thing cannot be implemented on a mobile or a tablet device because there is no hover feature. So this would, I think this would address that. They're still considering it, whether to include it or not, but I think this is one of the other feature that they are trying to introduce for that. Also, there are more like illumination as well, luminosity, if I'm not wrong. That's the word they are trying to use. Whether how bright or what is the brightness or the luminosity of your device. Based on that, also they are trying to introduce a media query for that. And again, most of these are still under work, right? So CSS3 is not yet completely done, but CSS4, they might either include these features or not include these features, but at least it helps us to know what has to be expected out of CSS4. So this is one of the things. And going to the next one, so we'll start off with CSS selectors. So this is the list of selectors that I'm going to discuss today. And I'm not going to show you as a slideshow like what each selector does. Rather, I'll take you to the website that I've been working on for this particular presentation itself, for this talk. I've just created a sample website where we can interact and see few of them that are working and few of them that are not working. Also, I have listed them down. So let's get right there. Let me bring up the browser. All right. Can you see the text properly, or you want me to zoom in? All right. We'll zoom in and zoom out based on the things. So basically, this is the website that I've been, just for this, I started it out, and I did not add any comment section yet. I'll add that as time permits. Just wanted to bring this up quickly for our presentation here. So first, let's look at the option, CSS level 4 option, which is a default, meaning that either in a select select drop down, you will have multiple options and you have a default options. Or in the form, you will have a button that is a default button. And if you want to target that, you don't have to have any kind of special classes or anything. Rather, you can directly have this particular default property. Down here, I gave you the code sample. I think, yeah, that's it. So basically, this is a form input, and the type is submit, and you will have this the default option to be done. And this is one example, and also you can use this as a part of the select dropdown, where you have the option default option. You can try to target that using one of these selectors, like colons default. The next one is an interesting one. So these are the things that we, as a part of, not only for this talk, but also as a part of our product development, carsnation.com, our team has been trying to find ways around for some selectors. As a part of the research, I found this to be very helpful for our team, especially when carsnation.com is about selling and purchasing used cars. So and there are a lot of more features, but the concept, the discussion here is about CSS4. So one of the things that we wanted to do was the car range that the user can put in. If he is within the range, it's okay. You can see the green color. If you can see that, and if he goes above this particular range, right? So it turns out to be red, right? So it's a very cool feature that we can have, like in range and out of range kind of selectors that are available that could help us for such kind of features that we requirements in our project that we are working on. And another small note about this is the element should be within a form control in order for this to be working, is what we found out as well. The next one is about the forms fields, whether it is required or optional. You can have, based on those, you can select a particular element as well. So for here, we have this particular form. One is a required form where I have this at the end, kind of a required here one, and the other one is just an optional, right? So based on that, you can select this, and you'll have, like an optional one, you have the border different color, and the required one, you will have a different border. Right now, I just use red just to, for the projector to be, to project it properly for the color combination, but based on your requirement, you can have whatever colors you wish to. The next one is about read and write. I mean, the actual terminology is mutability, but just to simplify that, I put it as read and write. So basically, you can identify what are the elements that are readable only elements and writable elements. For example, text boxes are something where you can, TextArea is something where you can write in stuff. So you can identify, you can select those, you can target those elements based on that. Here I have a couple of elements that are, obviously you'll have to add an attribute called as content editable to be false if you don't want that to be edited, and the other one is content editable to be true. So let's see if I can do something here. So you see the outline of that is kind of, right, so outline, I'm not sure if we can see that on the projector, but it's kind of a dashed one. So basically you can try to target the elements that could be editable and not editable as well with these kind of attribute-based selection that uses HTML5 attribute pseudo classes. The next one is very interesting. This is a lot of times we had this kind of it's loading, so. Yep. Well, all right, there you go. Okay, so this is an interesting one that the text, inside the text field, the placeholder, if you had to have any kind of special color for that, so we don't have anything as yet. So CSS with level 4 selectors, they are introducing this placeholder that you can make it into a different color that you want. Again, red is not my favorite color, but just to project it here with that would showcase better is what I used. So this is another pseudo selector for input that would solve a few of the things that a lot of questions have been there on Stack Overflow regarding this as well. So I think this would be an exciting one. The next one is about matches. Oops. It's taking time to load. All right. All right. Matches are like more like we already have the kind of matching selectors that are there, but the keyword match, and this would this pseudo selector, what it does is it would help you to select like as an argument list. You can pass in kind of an argument list. Mozilla already has this as a -moz -any already, so you can give in set of selectors that you would like to apply a particular color or whatever styles you want. But let me tell you this, starting from here on, from matches down till hyperlink, the browsers are not supporting except the -moz any. The other ones, they are not yet supported by the browsers. What I did is I just had a kind of a small PNG to show how it might look if at all this is supported. This is what it is like. If you're trying to match the first child and the different for the paragraphs, then the second and third paragraph, that's what it's going to have red in color. So same thing, if you want to do it in Mozilla and WebKit, you can do this in this way. Then the next one is select parent. Okay, so let me make sure I open this. Keep this ready for us. Okay, so this is one of the things which is really interesting as well. So far we had selections where we could do a descendant like a child selector, but right now they are trying to introduce something that they could you could select a parent selector as well. So in this case, if you would like to select a UL, you can directly LI, you could say direct $li greater than P, and you can do this. So this is an exciting selector that you could do that using a dollar greater than, and then you can get the element that you would like to do. Right now, again, as I said, this is not supported. On the right hand side, if you see, I grayed out all the browsers. Not supported by any browser, but if at all it is selected, then you'll have some text around, the border around this. And negation, all right, it's loaded. So negation, so we already have this in CSS3, the not selector. However, it only takes one argument, right? With CSS4, what you can do is you can pass multiple arguments with it as comma separated. So in this example here, for example, li not first child and different, so you're passing in 2 arguments, so except that the other things would be selected, obviously, applied the color to red to them. So it's the same, it's similar as CSS3, but with an option to pass arguments as a list. Then we go into relational, yeah. So basically this one, the keyword is has. It's like a pseudo class which is like more of a relative to its parent. So you can see like you want to select only the h1 and paragraphs that are inside section. Like the section has h1 and paragraph, then you can target that. So that's the color blue. And again, this is not supported by the browser, but we have highlighted it here if you see this. The next one is case insensitivity. Let's see. All right. Okay, so this is another interesting one. So far, we have this this particular selector href $= PDF. This kind of selector is already supported by the browser as a part of our CSS. The thing is, if at all you have the href in different cases, different either a capital PDF or a small PDF, it doesn't recognize that with our current selector. So, but with this introduction in CSS level 4, I think what it does is doesn't matter whether you give it as a capital letter or a small letter. So it's going to select those, and accordingly you can do that. So any kind of typos, or if there is user uploaded files, and the user might be having it in a different formats or cases. So this would help us to solve that problem here with case sensitive attribute, just as I here. Sorry, my bad. All right, next, directionality. So it's trying to load the image. So basically, so this one, this is what I think, but with the directionality, to left to right and right to left, we can also select that and style them. As I said, I'll add the comment section. Feel free to and let me know if you find some other things. But so basically, this is the left to right and right to left. If you can use the $dir as your pseudo class that represents the element in the direction determined by the document that you have. Especially for any kind of foreign languages that would start from the left, this is also helpful. But I just wanted to give you what's coming in. Hyperlink is the next one. There, what I did here, presented here, is only one selector, pseudo selector, any link. But there are more. There is something called as there's one more, sorry, which is called as local link as well, which you can target your anchor tags. Let's see what this first any link is. It's similar to like your anchor tag that you have, but here it would select all the links within your content that is there, and I have a again, this is just an image here on the right, and I have highlighted it with red, and I gave text decoration none. It's similar to your current a tag that you have, but I think with this, what you can do is the visited state and the hover state, you don't have to have multiple unless you want to have in different styles. You don't have to have for if you do not want to have, if you want to have the same styles, then you can have the a-link. The other one, I'm going to update this later on, is a local link where depending on the depth of your URL, if it is your own URL, the root is the same as your website URL, and then the depth of it, you can target those based on that. So that's also another thing that you can check it out. So this is about the selectors that I have, and then let's go back to the presentation. So all right. So next, what else to look for? So I tried to present a few of the properties as a part of the CSS4 that CSS level 4 that they are trying to introduce. So one is the fade property, where if you see the example, I brought it from W3C itself. So if you see the letters, rather than being cut off, you can have like a fade effect that you can give for your overflow. Text overflow, and obviously you have to give the overflow to be hidden. So that's the one. And then the other one here is the user select. So basically where you don't want the user to copy content or anything as such, rather than using any kind of JavaScript to to have the user not selecting any content, you can use this particular select property where user select none. and the browser shall not allow user to select this particular paragraph. And then, so this is directionality of the image. This is something I'm still trying to see how true this could be. But if you have a particular image and you can have the direction to be changed according to the image, whether it has to be from left to right or right to left, so you can also mention that using the image property here. So this is what it is. Next, the other thing that they are trying to introduce is variables. As a part of my research, I try to look into some variables that CSS level 4 is trying to introduce. So basically here, the variable that we are using here is hyphen color, hyphen background, and I gave some color. And so if you have to use that as a variable, then this is how you would use that. It's two hyphens before the word color. And not only this is within a class, right? But you can give it at a global level as well, using a root as your pseudo class, and then you can do that. Now, the interesting part about this is how does this work in conjunction with our Sass? Like, a lot of people have been implementing Sass or preprocessors, and how does this particular variable, come in with the Sass? So basically, I tried to see, like, what if we have to marry these two CSS4 variables and Sass variables in an efficient way? So on the left-hand side, if you see, so in the Sass variables, what we could have done here is we can have whatever is the color variable that you have on the top. If you have to loop through them using the root, as I said in the last slide, the root pseudo class, and then you can loop through them and give the dash color with the name of the same colors. And this is how it would translate on the right-hand side to CSS. So this is how a small sample we had to do, and I was able to find. So again, so basically, if at all you're trying to use both the combination, then this is one of the solutions you could look at in the future. And next, as I was talking about, ironically on April 1st, I mean, these are the things that are being floated on the internet by different blogs, and they are saying that as a part of CSS4, there's something called as Preresponsive layout where the images could be preloaded, and there is something JavaScript could be written within style sheets, and you could have much more server-side styling and all that. But as a part of this, when this was published by, I think, tutorialsplus.com, I think, but ironically, it was on April 1st, but a lot of the other bloggers or developers, they just, I'm not sure whether they identified that, but they just took the content and they're just floating it around. I'm going to leave it to you guys whether to believe in this, but as of W3C, they did not have anything in their working draft that I could see, and even a lot of things are. I mean, from my side, I'm not sure I can. I'm not gonna vouch for this, but it's up to you guys to decide on this. So next, so basically, these are some of the websites that I've been trying to research. So yeah, I mean, this is what I wanted to present today, talk about CSS4, what are the new things that are coming in, and our team at Cars Nation is really excited to see how soon CSS4 would come in to help us to solve the problems that I just tried to do that on our website. So that's it from my side for today, and I hope you liked all this presentation. Thank you.